I forgot to turn on one of my parts. Have I been silent this entire time? Oh my, oh, I completely... That was my bad. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I've just been speaking. Okay, I've been silent. I hate that. Yeah, I was talking about the kind of design that I wanted to go with for the capital ship. And then, because I wanted to start work on a capital ship. Also, how you doing, Naresh? Yeah, because I think what I want to do is, I still am not certain on this sort of style. I think, yeah, I absolutely hate this design, so I'm just going to quickly delete this. I just don't like it. Delete that. None of that. I don't like any of that. I want to try to redesign the capital ship a little bit better. Because I'm seeing certain elements of this that I like, but certain elements that I don't. One of the main things that I don't like is that the front is tall, and then we get this kind of protrusion for the, yeah, the protrusion for kind of the hangar area. Oh, also is now 1.0. Now a paid game. Anyone who had it before keeps it. New weapons, 6 new mutations, new map, and of course new music, but also a vast change in style for the whole game. Right, I forgot to change over to this screen. Okay, there we go. I'm a little thrown at the moment. While I was trying to start the stream the first time, for some reason Twitch didn't start the stream. Then while I was trying to fix that, I accidentally deleted my previous main browsing tab. So I'm a little distracted by that. But yeah. Yeah, the main thing I don't like about this design is just, it's very tall towards the front, and has a very specific angular shape. And I think if I was to do something else with these sides, I could make it work. But because of the fact that this is that this kind of just branches wide, I just can't see the shape doing that like it is now. So I'm going to try to design another ship more or less to kind of fix some of those issues that I have with that. So I'm just going to fly this way for a small bit and then hope to make it work. Okay. We're far enough away here. I think this will do good. But yeah, I'm just going to build a whole new ship. Info station, and then we just, there we go. All right, and so I think I want this to be, I think first give a good chunk of the cross-sectional shaping for this ship. So I think what I'm going to want to do first and foremost might actually be to design or really come up with a main overarching shape. Let me use other people's work as inspiration because I might as well. I don't know if I'll spawn any of them in, but it'd be nice to at least see some of the other designs, because I'm partially inspired because I saw the new Ahsoka Season 2 trailer, and that's got my mind thinking of building stuff. So I want to I want to try to get a good concept for something new. A little bit better than some of my previous designs have been. Let's see. Need to get past all of my stuff. All the stuff I made into its own blueprint. Oh yeah, I forgot about the ISF stuff. Ooh. They do look pretty cool. Oh yeah. Multi-role battleship. How big is this? I kind of want to look at this one. I forgot that I got this, so I'll quickly spawn this in, quickly look at it again. And I think what I'll also do is I think I'm going to spawn in like 3 or 4 other ships. These will take a little bit for them to spawn in, but hopefully I can get like 2 or 3 of these spawned in so I can get a good idea on what other people have more or less done in terms of the design elements that they have gone with. Alright, so let's spawn you in. Because yeah, I think a good chunk of the stuff that I've wanted to make... Oh, excuse me. Oh, Lord. Okay. A good chunk of the ideas that I've had have been not the greatest. They've branched a little too much. But yeah. Alright, let's get this loaded in. Come on. There we go. Okay. So this one's got a very flat front. Okay. Okay. Ooh, I kind of like this. This sort of thruster holding. I like that. These kind of paneled elements I think look really cool. So I might try to find a way to maybe do something similar to that. And there's a very interesting shape for the for this. It's kind of got a very flat bottomed edge with kind of more rounded every other area. Okay, that's pretty interesting. And we'll go up top. This is a multi-role battleship. So its design is more kind of probably fighting than any of the other designs that I'd work, but I think it looks probably better. Wait a second, have I been thinking that the top's been the bottom? Is this the top? I think this is the top. Yeah. Which actually makes a bit of sense. Well, this is interesting. Interesting. Okay. So it's not airtight, but it gives the illusion of airtightness without losing anything, really. I like that. I also like the design of this. I assume it's a fighter, though it doesn't really have much weapons. Or any weapons, but it does give a very cool shape and design, so I like that. Okay. And then you just get the barrels and everything else here. Okay. I like that design. That did say front hanger. Were there other hangers that I missed? I guess there might be. You get this. I greatly like how they've done the kind of command zone, though I don't exactly like some of this. I do think it's overall pretty interesting. I like the idea of sort of these mainstay kind of hanger pieces. Let me guess. Okay. Okay, so you kind of enter in through that. I do kind of want to see what the bridge looks like, so we're going to go ahead to the bridge. Okay. I do like these sort of, the round and then the square for kind of this viewing port. I think that looks really cool. How does one get to the main bridge? Okay, this is... I assume that this is a bed area? Maybe? But I don't know. Okay, you have kind of storage. Okay, this is like that forward bridge area. But where is this kind of design? I'm very confused. Okay. Ah, this also is bridge. Okay. Okay, so this has two bridges. Okay. I do kind of like that. You kind of have like the fore bridge and the aft bridge. Although I kind of would have found it more reasonable to make both bridges be connected, but I mean, this does still look cool. Yeah, so I like this design. This feels so much like a command bridge rather than a battle bridge. Like the front bridge feels more like the helm. But alright. Either way, I think this is a really cool shape. I'm gonna go spawn in another, I guess, battleship, battle cruiser type vessel, another capital ship, and then we'll see what kind of what comes to mind for different shapings of things. Because I'll be honest, I will have so many cool ideas, but the shape of ships is very much something you need to come up with kind of at the beginning of the ship. And I did not do that well during my last attempt at making things. I just did not. How big are you? I think I want 10,000 blocks or more. Unfortunately, a lot of the ACI no longer has images, or at least their images don't load. Let's see. What is this? Oh, that's a drop ship. Okay. 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 All right. I don't know what this is, but this looks interesting, so we'll probably spawn it in. Or at least it sounds interesting. What was this? Oh, that was that ship. Okay, I think I'm just gonna start building After looking at this, I've kind of got an idea. So I'll just quickly delete EU, go find the other block that I have. I have just a random... There it is. Okay. Alright, let's go build something interesting. So I think what I want to do is I think I also want to start... Do I want a pointed, rounded, or how do I want that front end to look? Actually, I kind of have an idea of sort of a... Maybe inspired by like a Starhawk a little bit. So a main kind of downward section towards the... Ooh. That could be kind of interesting, but I think what I'll do is I'm just gonna get rid of that. We'll do 5. I kind of want to go back to out 1. Creating sort of a platform almost like this. I kind of like that sort of interesting shaping, kind of building it on sort of a tri-shape here, so probably doing something very similar here. Kind of building that up and then letting this maybe go back a little bit. And then I think raising this up here. Okay. Let me remove that. And then I kind of like the idea of I think maybe coming out and doing something sort of like this. So we kind of have this interesting shape where we kind of have this internal top bunker area where I can put guns that I can also step a bit, but then on the sides also sort of branching these. I think I'd shape them like this. Kind of rounded element that I can kind of pull outward a bit more, so I think we'd let's see here, because I think I'm gonna try to put guns also on the sides here. Actually, I kind of like this sort of shape for now. Kind of for the very front of the ship. Because that looks very... I think for this to look right, I need to... I think if I do this... I think it'll look better. No, these don't work. Those just don't work. Not like that. I can try to make them work, but not like that. That's not working. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what might be a good way to shape these, because the biggest issue I have is that trying to make something look like it belongs is very difficult. I guess I could maybe do this. Maybe, so you kind of end up... I mean, this is kind of what I had before. But maybe if I don't know. I'm already not... I'm not liking the way that this shapes out. This doesn't shape right. That's just not shaping right, and I don't know what to do about that. I like that for the upper. I just don't know what to do with the sides. I guess maybe dropping back a little bit further might work. So kind of doing something... maybe a little more Blade-esque, so maybe going with a 3 and then bringing it up. Let's see how that looks, because I think that actually might look better. Kind of going something a little sharper. Yeah, I actually kind of like the way that that looks a little sharper. It kind of breaks up this sort of front kind of main body of this design. And then I can kind of use that to bridge. Because what I want to try to do is I want to try to keep... the main problem with the other ship is that there's not enough width to that section before we get the before we get to the before we get to those... actually, you know what? Okay. I just had an idea and I want to see if it makes the other ship look better. Or if the idea might work to do. So I'm gonna quickly fly over here and try something. I don't know why I didn't think to try to do this before, but meh, it's something I didn't think to do, so let me just fix the sunlight so I can actually see on the side that I'm working on. Good. If I was to, let's say, take to about this level and then do something kind of like this, where we kind of build out a kind of design, something that'd be able to be built up a bit more, but would also be easy enough to connect to the rest of the design. Something maybe like this, building a small section where it kind of goes out and up. To create a little line, something like this. With maybe a small raised bit. I don't know, like... how wide is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 actually sounds pretty decent for a scale, at least for now. It's not meant to be a massive part of the ship, just a part of it. And then kind of doing something like this. Something that kind of bridges the width a bit more. And then I can even do something where it kind of bridges in a bit. I think by twice. Because we're getting kind of close to the front, so we kind of want to bridge it a little further in. All right. Yeah, and then what I can do is I can kind of bridge it like this. Or we kind of bridge this. That much more neatly bridges into the... It much more neatly bridges into those and provides an area that if I do engines as kind of a stepping in, this makes this look much more reasonable and provides places for secondary batteries. I don't know if I'm totally for it, but I think I'll build out at least this bottom section before we begin work again on the other design. And I'll save this for maybe a version, maybe a different type of ship. Maybe this will be one of the other factions' versions of the same type of ship. I don't know yet, but I will probably find out at some point. Because that's the way the building works. Just, I may not know what I'm building, but I will eventually. And then we just kind of bridge this in. Good. We just build this out. Good. Went too far. Yeah, because I think this works in the scale. I think I like this rough shape. I definitely need to, I think, beef up the other version of this just because it's going to need some serious work to get some of the design kind of available, but I like this sort of idea. And then we just do this. There we go. Yeah, I kind of like that. Now I'm going to go find the other design, which should be... Shit, I forgot to mark it. Oh wait, is that it? I think that's it up here. Alright. Yeah, I think... Okay. Alt tab, just shift the sun back around. There we go. Alright. I kind of like this rough shape. And I kind of like how this is turning out. And I definitely think what I'm going to want to do is, honestly, I think I kind of want to leave the center open a bit. And I think I want to actually maybe curve this up slightly. So we kind of get a almost stepping up wing element that kind of goes up a little, and then doing a separate one of those a little bit further back and down, I think might look really cool. So, in theory, that would be something sort of akin to this. That was 3 up. So I probably want to do that again just because, and then probably stop it at this slight angle because I think that's... In fact, I'm tempted to then do this. And do that. That way it kind of bends even further up towards this front section. And then I think what we can do is sort of, if we go 3 out, 3, and then sort of I have no idea what I'm designing, but that's fine. And then we sort of slightly bridge it backward a little. This might look really interesting as part of the kind of forward element of the ship. And then what I can do is if I, let's say, take this and go out another 2. That looks really interesting because it kind of... And then what I could do is I could, in theory, do 1 out. That is a very interesting... It's a very interesting shape. I kind of like it. I'd have to solidify it a little bit more, and for now I'll just quickly fill in the gap so I can get a good view of it above. I have no idea what this shaping kind of, like, why this shaping, but it's good enough for now. I really have no idea why this shaping, but okay, and then we'll just... I like this because I feel like this provides a decent width. Without doing too little or too much. I feel like it'd be semi-easy to just kind of stop at that. Ooh, I don't know. Now I'm looking at it again. I don't know whether that's any good. It's a very interesting shape. I just don't like it. Not as much as the other ship design. I feel like there needs to be more to the front of that. Like that needs to kind of be pulled down a little bit more. Maybe into something sort of a... Like, this feels like this should be something where it kind of goes... This feels kind of like that needs to be done, and then sort of almost maybe if I then take this portion and then I have no idea why this ship now has this shape to it, but we now have a very odd shaping to this, and I don't really know what to do about that. Because, like, I have no idea what the fuck this shape is supposed to be. Or why this is now a shape. I guess this would probably end up like this. I mean, how does that look? Too much. I think maybe doing this. I have no idea what's going on with this shaping, but I kind of like it, oddly enough. It's such an odd shape. And I feel like bridging something out the sides here just makes sense for some reason. Let me fix the sun. Let the light come back around the front of this thing. I have no idea what the fuck this is, but I like it. So we're going to continue with this for now. I think the other thing we'll do is we'll just kind of build this down, and then I guess maybe... I have no idea what the fuck this is, but I kind of like it. I feel like this needs to go down again. Actually, this feels like something needs to go at the front of this with like a slight discrepancy. So I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to get rid of that. I am actually going to, rather than going backward right here, for some reason this feels right to go out one and sort of create a shape kind of like this. So then there's that gap there, and then take this, sort of create like this kind of square window element, maybe perfectly mirror it so it goes two, and then if I start bringing this forward a bit, I have no idea what the fuck this is, I think this is sort of around midship. Or like toward the front, but like an odd portion of the front. Because I also feel like I should do this. And then maybe bring these down. I don't have the slightest idea what this is. Yet it feels right, this design element like this. Honestly, this feels like this should maybe be, I'm gonna say 11 tall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Go kind of forward with this. And that around the midpoint of this, so 1, 2, 3. So then around the midpoint here, this feel that this should maybe go, I'm gonna build out kind of a chunk here and then go out we'll say I think I need a full 5 blocks for the thing that I want to make. At least 5 blocks, I think. Because I think what I'm going to do is I think I want to make this a sort of gun platform. Then if I kind of do this, I have no idea what faction this is. But this is an interesting style and I like it so far, so we're going to continue with it. I also have no idea where the rest of this ship is going to be or the scale of this thing. But I like it so far. And I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to add in... I want to give sort of a space in front of this. Like, this feels like this needs to be replicated underneath. Like, I should... Ooh. Yeah, I like that idea. So I'm going to do that, and I want to see how this looks and just how big this ends up being. I am just going to quickly save now, yes. Then I'm going to completely chop this part off. Then do control... Oh wait, I want to actually remove that as well. Control... where do I want the control C? Probably from here. Control C. Add in the extra blocks here. And here. Get rid of this. Delete that, yes. And then control V. No. Control V. Can you please? There we go. This has substantially increased this latter half. And I kind of like this look. Because what I can do is I can put like a large-ish gun around here and then sort of bridge this a little wider. And then kind of create sort of a weird inner dome piece here that kind of goes backward a little. And it feels right for some reason like this. And then I think I'll do a 5-gun spot with 5x5. So we'll say that's the center. So then we'll do 1 forward, 1, 2, 3, 5. Then another one. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then another one. Okay. I'm also going to quickly... Okay, now I have perfect replication on both top and bottom for this. I am uncertain of what the faction this is supposed to be for, but I like its look, so we're going to continue with this. Because I'm not entirely certain who this is meant to be for, good guys or bad guys yet, but all I know is this is huge and I like it. Okay, and then I kind of like the idea. Ooh. We'll continue this a bit further forward. And then we're gonna go down a bit. And then we'll kind of continue the same sort of shaping back here. And then we'll kind of continue that here. Okay. Where the frick's the sun? It's behind the planet, isn't it? Where the fuck's the build? It's over here now. Okay. I'm not entirely certain what this is, but I like it, so we're going to continue with this. Oh, great. What did I say? That could be a that's what she said. Oh, Lord. Alright, so now we've got sort of this really interesting shape here. I'm going to, I guess, continue with that weird shaping and go back. I think I'm going to indent actually by an extra block. That way the section looks kind of like that with this 3-block space here, and then we'll, I guess, start building outward. Okay. And I think we'll do one more bit, 3 outward. I'm not entirely certain what this thing is. What even is this design? I have no idea. And then I think we might kind of switch to a 2 at the very edge, just kind of as like a bevel. just kind of, yeah, a sort of like bevel where it kind of steepens off, and then maybe a single that way it really bevels the edge. So if I was to angle, that would be that, and then I might even do a half block, I think, kind of like that. So you end up with this weird little half block piece, and then sort of going up by 2 blocks, kind of going in like this. Oh, and you clipped it. All right. And we'll go up actually another bit like this to kind of create a sort of interesting height here. And then we'll just, I guess, continue this like this. That feels a little too short, so I need to bring this up a little higher. Okay, let's kind of build this up. I think we're gonna go maybe an extra, we'll do an extra block here, so these are 3 on each side. Then we'll do kind of a weird curving bit here. I do still want this to be very flat in its curve. I am so confused by the shape of this, and I so greatly have no idea what the fuck I'm looking at. I have no idea what I'm looking at. I have no idea what I'm looking at here, but I kind of like it. And then I think what we'll do is we'll just simply go in this way a little bit more. Bridge that connection there, so then that's kind of where that ends, that connection, and then we'll just kind of, I guess, continue this way. I think I'm actually going to start building this from this point right here. Again, I have absolutely no idea what this is supposed to be, because this is nowhere near what I had thought this was going to end up looking like, so the scale of things has quickly gotten out of hand. I am now going to just kind of make a big flat plane here. So we're just gonna kind of build this. I kind of feel like these should be some of the larger guns, maybe. I think the scale of this is drastically increased from what I had initially intended. And honestly, I don't know what the frick to do about that problem, because I don't know what I'm building here. Honestly, I kind of like the idea of maybe almost capping off this sort of weird front plate piece by, at this point, going in by a block, removing this, and actually going in slightly from here. And then maybe going up here. Again, none of this has any I have no idea what I'm building here, so I think we'll just kind of quickly, I guess, do something like this. And then finish this out. So we end up sort of with this interesting shape that it has these taller plates that are going to, I think, slowly merge together. And I think this is going to be kind of where a lot of the main armament, at least the frontal main armament, will be. So you'll have sort of like one of your main guns, one of your centerline main guns here, and then like other centerline guns almost slightly lower about here. So I think I'm going to try to keep this higher than the back section. So I think we're going to move this up. Because that way this keeps that at least 2 blocks above. And that'll be about where one of the main guns will sit, like that. I actually kind of like the idea that this raises before that. And then we kind of keep that sort of weird shaping. Okay. And so I think what we'll do is we'll do kind of the first layer of 3 guns. So the first gun would sit here. The second of the larger guns sits here. And then maybe a third sits back. The third layer kind of sits back here. Again, raised a bit since these are going to be larger guns. So we'll end up with 5 there. Another set of thumb towards the front. I think a bank of broadsides on whatever the fuck is going on here. I have no idea how I want the rest of that front end to look. I feel like this back end, I kind of want to be this space where I add in the... do I want to make the... I'm half tempted to not actually make this frontal bulbous section be where the fighters are. And instead, almost repeat a very similar element a little bit further back where this maybe starts having these inset sections for guns and thrusters in the sides, and then maybe some smaller... Well, actually, honestly, this base works just well for that. So I could do... I could, in theory, do that like that. We'll just continue this back a little bit. The scale of this thing is huge. I have no idea how I've managed this. And then I think what I might do is I might, at this point, design the next layer of kind of holding stuff. So I think I'm gonna do this. Where it's gonna kinda... I think I want to go one rather that way, so this is 2, 2. Let's see. I do just quickly need to, just build this as far back as I can. That way I get the... Good. Oh, shit. That's what I was afraid of happening. Okay, that's really unfortunate. But that does, in fact, place well with the other design, because then it goes from here, like this. And I can just simply, to make this work the best, I honestly have no idea what the fuck this thing's supposed to do or be, but it is huge and I like it so far. Good. Perfect. So now we end up with this sort of interesting over shape, which I think I'm going to actually pull forward this time. And then we'll just kind of... Yeah, and so that kind of... That creates a very interesting shaping thing where this sort of weird tri-folding... I don't know. This is weird. I like it, but I don't really know what to do about this design. And then I'm gonna kind of come over here a little. We'll do that. So now we've got this weird sort of odd shaping. Where's the edge? So this is gonna be the kind of wall here. So if I just do this, I've now created this very strange shaping that I don't know what to do with, but I like the look of it. Because this kind of flattens out the curve a little bit, makes it a little more boxy, and allows me to start almost, I think, pulling this curve out a little bit more. So I think if I do something like honestly, yeah, something like from this position, maybe going back a bit and then starting to and then just kind of weird shaping like this. This ship is getting huge. I think the scale of this thing has gotten a lot bigger than it initially intended to be. But I also really like this sort of shaping. Let me fix the freaking time set. There we go. So, like, I don't really like that front nose bit quite as much right now. I feel like for that to make sense, I have to heighten or keep the height of that front nose bit. And I feel like I need to do something else to the width. So I feel like what I should do here is I'm gonna go get rid of this. I did something wrong again, my bad. Okay, we'll get rid of this first. Yeah, I feel like this should be built out maybe an extra level or two, so then we'll do one more. Because what I could do with this section is I could double the layer, so we have 2 guns lower, 2 guns higher, which would mean we would need a full probably 10 from the edge, so we'll just add that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1. Let me put that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, because I wouldn't want it to be right here would be the centerpiece, so we'll just I'll add a conveyor port there just to kind of show that that'd be about where the conveyor would be there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'd do the final bit 1 like that, and then going forward this allows for this kind of bit where it kind of goes from very pointed to almost retracting into the centerpiece before these big armored panels just drastically increase the size, while also keeping the width fairly consistent. So I'll try to keep it like that. So then we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we'll do... I at least want the 3 here, because then what I'll do is I'll go back to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that should line up with this. And then I'll just kind of build this as a plate going back. Good. And then quite simply just where these are. Yep, so this would be the other line. So we'll just kind of continue this backward. Add in this. And then just kind of continue this back. Building like that. So we'll end up with this sort of front section that is going to be rather armored. Allow for guns to kind of be placed in this section. And we'll see whether this still looks wrong. I think it will without the necessary supporting shaping shaping of the rest of the ship. I feel like without any of that supporting shaping, a lot of this just doesn't look quite as it's supposed to. Then again, I don't know what this is supposed to look like because I have no idea what this is. So we'll see what I can build, I guess. Yeah, that feels just too... It feels too small. It feels like if I'm going to add more, it needs to be after whatever I've already built. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to cut off what I've already... this front section. And if I design any more plates like this, they'll just be added in other zones. So I'm just going to kind of cut... You... Good. Delete, yes. Delete, yes. Delete, yes. Okay. I love how the build can change so drastically. Wait, this is still no, this is not connected, okay. It looked like it still was connected, which would be really bad. Okay. I have absolutely... Honestly, that doesn't look bad like this. It's not at all what was initially designed, but I like this kind of shaping. Voila. So now we end up with whatever the fuck this is. With this weird sort of frontal bit that really makes this such an odd shaped thing. But now if I kind of keep this sort of design going, so we'll just kind of build from here. I'll fill in the rest of this later, but if I just kind of keep this same sort of shape. There we are. So then what this will do is this will allow for the kind of slope outward of this. I have no idea what I'm going to end up with in that center section, but what I might do, actually, now that I think about it, is this would be a great place to add in the kind of gun rack sort of outrider piece that just kind of slowly gets developed into the rest of the ship, with the larger guns being placed kind of on this fore up section and maybe slightly in this back section. Slightly, but not by much. That could look pretty cool. And then I have no idea what the fuck this is meant to be. No idea what the fuck this is meant to be. And I kind of like it that way, to be honest. And then it just kind of doesn't really get much wider. And then we just kind of go backward a bit. And then we just kind of build this, just going further and further back. Like this. So we go from kind of this curve to a sort of slant while continuing the shaping, right? I like that. I still have no idea how the rest of this ship is supposed to be shaped because holy fuck, this thing is huge. This is bigger than the other ship is, I think, already. And it was supposed to be about the same size. But, you know, scaling does kind of get out of hand rather frequently for me, so sure. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum. I think what I'll do is I'll just quickly use this to bridge this gap. Okay. And now, what do I want to do? Honestly, I feel like what I should do is almost build out like the edge of these plates on the inside and sort of slope them down so they kind of come around. Where the fuck am I facing again? Yeah, so maybe start pulling these down a bit so that they kind of create this sort of pointed opposite direction slope that kind of curves down. I think would look really cool. So doing something where it kind of does this sort of thing where it kind of comes out, down. I think doing that here would make the most sense. So we kind of get this sort of sharper curve down. It sort of alleviates and then kind of tapers off again over here. So it kind of would come like this. So it kind of does this sort of... I want it slightly more gradual, so I think we'll do that so it kind of slopes again. And then at this level, it'd go to this too. And then maybe doing this 1-to-1 more. And then we kind of do this regular. Nope. And we kind of do this. Yeah, and then kind of maybe sloping like that, and then doing this, where we kind of... And then if I just finish this off with these not quite touching. I like that. So that, like them not quite touching. Well, this does require me to fill in kind of this curve a bit more, so then this looks more right. And then filling this curve in so it's flat, so that way that kind of feels right. And I think I might even remove these corner pieces. Might even cut these down to that. I think that just kind of balances that curve a little more. And then I'll also just do that over on the edge, just to kind of smooth that out a little bit more. And then on this one, just do the one. And then we just kind of let me out of this stupid backward still. There we go. Okay. And then we kind of just fill in the rest of this gap. I honestly have no idea how this became the design, but I kind of like it. I once again need to move that fucking sun. Okay. So now we end up with this. I don't really know how we end up with this, but now we do. I'm gonna just kind of fill this in, I guess. And then we just kind of finish this off. Just voila. BRB. Okay. And then, yeah, I just need to more or less fill in the gaps here with this. Perfect. So now we end up with this weird shape again. I don't like it. It doesn't feel as curved as it should be. It feels too pointed. I feel like this needs to be... No, I don't like the hole there. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna do that. I feel like I need to remove this. That way I can put guns on that level, and it makes some sense for why to pull that out. Like that is. And then I feel like the other thing I need to do is I need to figure out what else this shape is supposed to be, because right now we have a very odd shaping. And it's very large. Let's see. How large are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. 45 currently. So actually, you know what I can do? Now that I think about it, is I think I've built up enough of the front section to where if I build out a side hanger piece here. I think that'll be about right. And then I think the other thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to build out the side hanger design where it kind of sticks out a little bit and is slightly curved and such. So we're going to build the side hanger piece there. And then I think what we're going to do is I think we're also going to maybe build something out the bottom or at the top to kind of break up this shaping. Honestly, this feels like it should be much longer. Like, I feel almost like this is supposed to continue like this. So I kind of like the idea of doing that, actually. Just kind of adding that, finishing that shaping a bit, so it allows for the breakup in the shaping while also merging the shape back to like the standard round. I kind of like that. And then I think what we're going to do is I might just extend this till this feels right in length. So I am just going to take a piece and we're just going to more or less build out until I think it looks reasonable in scale. Please freaking do not try to make that. We'll go there, and I'm just going to finish building this out. We're gonna kind of try to build out the rest of the shape. And we'll just build it out until it looks right. So, however long until it looks right. This is a 3 wide. Good. And yeah, we're just gonna kind of build this layer till it looks right. And then we'll just build out this. Good. And then we'll just build out a fairly long bit. I'm gonna just finish this off. And then we'll just finish building this. Okay. Honestly, this feels like a little bit bigger should be done. And honestly, I feel like what I should do is I almost feel like I should take this edge and kind of bring it back a little bit and then coat this back half. And then maybe this would be where I change top and bottom, taking this top half and bringing it sort of a little wider and a little further back still. But then on the bottom half, maybe pulling it down so the plates kind of curve down maybe. So this kind of curves like that, and this kind of curves, I don't know, maybe a little further down. I feel like that would be like ending this at the bottom here, making this be the bottom plate, but then this plate's having another plate on top of it. Sort of, I feel like would be cool. So maybe going in a little bit further. So maybe going in one further. And then I feel like doing a bit where it kind of goes down a bit. And then I feel like maybe going down one more. And then this time out. That way this kind of feels... Let's see here. Because then this can also be used... No, this back half feels too small. I feel like the angle needs to be done a little... I definitely feel like this inner part feels good. But I think I need to do that one more time. And I did a mistake, so now I need to do this. And I'll be honest, this is a huge ship. Like, way, way larger than it really has any right to be. But I suppose this is supposed to be a massive ship, so... Like a massive battleship. Or even battle cruiser scale, so why not, I guess. And yeah, I feel like this needs to be brought further back. I feel like this needs to be brought further back like this. Then this one should be brought... And then we just kind of continue quite a while. And then I think at this point... we're going to continue the width. Good. Because what I kind of want is I kind of want the steepness to really ramp up on the edges here. Oh, I am really far back. And I'll just continue doing it this way. Actually, then changing this to a 3. And then maybe starting the curve. So maybe going back and then doing that. And then kind of going back again, down. Oh yeah, and then I can now then do one more out. Do down. Yeah, and then kind of doing that. So it kind of, ooh, I really like that shape. So you really end up with this sort of stacked layer. Yeah, and then what I can do is I can add in I feel like with this layer, this feels like this needs to be another chunk longer. Honestly, I have no idea how the fuck to end this. I guess the best way to end this, I guess, would be after this chunk, so bringing this further back a decent chunk, pulling it up, making a final section that maybe goes out, and then just kind of pulling in, sort of either angling in at the tops and the bottoms, sort of shortening the height while keeping its width, and then sort of flattening that out, or maybe even bringing certain areas out. But I like this, so I want to bring this a little bit further out now. So what we'll do is, I think we'll do this. We're going to take this, and we're just going to continue this backward a while. And I do mean a while. I want this to feel huge and at scale that it's just stupid to assault. This is a battle carrier ship. Like, this is a heart of a fleet. And then I think what we'll do is we'll then go up. We'll kind of mimic. Yeah, I feel like what we'll do is we'll finish this, so I'll just... Oh, this is huge. Okay, and then just kind of... Good, and then we'll... So this, 3 down, 1 out. Okay, that's gonna be the real fun one, is trying to keep track of the 3 down, 1 out. This next one is 4 down, 1 out. Okay, and then doing the 1 extra block on the side. And then after this point, I think what I'll do is I'll add in kind of the rest of the scale. So we'll do this. And we just need to add in the extra block. And then, yeah, I think we'll just call the edge of the ship at that point. So we're going to do that. Right. Yes. Okay. And then we just... Okay, we'll just bridge this too far. Good. So this sticks out 1 block further than the layer beneath it. Stop, please. Lagginess. Stop. Angle, please. Okay. Fuck. Damn it. Alright. No, no. Okay, and that actually is supposed to not be that wide, so I need to bring this to that wide and then remove the width. Please stop. Please drop. Good, and then we just need to cut this. Good. And then we build this 1 block further out. Okay, so this goes 1 block further out than the bottom one. I honestly have no idea how one shape made all of this. I do know, however, that this is ridiculously overscaled and really needs to be cut back. And then I think what I'll do is I'll just kind of make this one big top plate. So I'll just do that and then cut this piece. And then we'll finish this plate. This is huge. And has grown to such an extent that this... Please stop. Okay. So now, I honestly have no idea what to do with the rest of this because... Right. I feel like I need to angle this outward so it kind of points a little bit more, and then maybe make a separate final inner circle that widens it a bit more. Yeah, I feel like that's what's needed. It's almost like a separate circle that's smaller, make that wider, like a lot wider, and have that be where like 4 sets of engines go, and then build up sort of a cockpit on the top and maybe some sort of hangar design somewhere else. Potentially even right in front of the engines or towards the front of this ship. So I feel like what I should do is... I feel like I should really just bridge this kind of like... So we do that, to... Driving out to buy lunch. Alright. Yeah, and then we'll do this. There we go. Oh, lag. I wonder why there might be lag. It's not that I'm building some massive off ship that's got no reason to be as big as it is. You know, absolutely no reason for this to exist. Like, this is just ridiculously scaled. I think this will be the first time where it's like the 4s. We're gonna keep at the 4. Angle will... I think now that we're at this height, so once we get to the next layer, so we'll do one last 4, then we get to the next layer. I think we'll make it more flat and stop angling it up as much. But like so far, this thing is absolutely enormous. Like this thing has no reason to be as big as it is. Because like this thing is huge. Okay. So as it stands now, yeah, this makes this feel great spot for like for the other area to kind of stick out of it. So what I'm gonna do is we're just gonna kind of come over here. We're gonna go back like 2, go out. Basically like this. And then we're going to more or less follow a very similar curve to the outside. And I think this is going to be where the main thruster pack will, or I think where this is going to be about where we're going to make the main, yeah, I feel like this should be where we put the, because I kind of like the idea that it might have like this floor area where you might have hangars, and then it goes further back into where you put the real large hangar bay. So now that's what I'm going to start building, the massive fuck off hangar bay. And I actually kind of like the idea that the hangar bay is going to be, I think, shaped like this. So we're going to use this shape as the main shape on the hangar bay. So we're just going to kind of make that shape stick out a bit further. Then we'll do one last one. And then we're going to just more or less finish building. Because I think what we're going to do is I think we're going to use this as the place where these massive plates stop. And we start getting more like the hangar space. I think what we'll probably do is we'll have side hangar and bottom hangar space. This thing's huge. This is ridiculous, and I love it, and it's just stupidly scaled. What we'll do is we'll just kind of do this, just more or less just gonna kind of repeat this process, just I'm gonna use this design more or less to build it. Because I also like the idea that this is a lot shorter than the other thing, or at least a bit shorter. I think I need to go curve it a little bit less, so we'll... Okay. I feel like instead of this, I think we'll do 2 more, so it's... Okay, we'll do 4. Then we'll make this one a 3. Then a 1. The massive off hanger. Because why the fuck not? And what I can do is I can just kind of continue this process of just repeating this angle. And then doing the same thing on this angle, just 1, 2. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And then we just kind of repeat the process, just doot, 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 doot. And we just repeat this. And we repeat the process. This is a massive ship. I love it. I love the idea that they just built something so ridiculous in scale that nobody else would even think to build this large, because there's no reason for this to be this large. It has no reason to exist at this scale. But I kind of like it because it has no reason to be this big. There is no reason this ship is as big as it is. I could definitely build this shape smaller. But I built it, now we're working with what I've built. And then we just kind of fully bridge our gaps. Good. We'll do that. There we are. Voila. Alright, holy shit. That doesn't even make it feel that much wider by doing that. But I feel like that is what I needed to do. And then I think what I'll do is I think I'll finish capping off this forward plate section. And then maybe add in another section right after these engine, or right after these thruster bank area, where we then repeat the other design. So I want this to be a massive hangar space, so because I think this is going to have 4 hangars. I think I might do like the 2 side hangars here and here. Maybe a forward hangar that actually takes up, that you can kind of fly through the ship. This one, I think there might be stuff in the middle, so it's 2 hangars separate. 1 hangar, and then maybe a lower area for smaller vessels to dock to, because this thing is fucking huge. Alright, and then we're just going to, okay, everything's building right. Does this feel reasonable scale for the hangars? Not really. That still feels really, really small, so I need to pull it further back. Alright. This is fucking ridiculous in scale. Okay. And then I think what I'm going to do is we're going to kind of finish the back end a bit. And then I think what I'll do is I'll do stepped ends. So we'll do kind of this section where it goes in by that amount. Maybe the final kind of a small strip that kind of just continues to encircle the back end. And then an area where it goes in a separate section and starts the tiered thruster set. Finally bringing the size of this craft to its end size, which is way bigger than I ever thought it was going to be. Honestly, this thing is so big that fucking... It's stupid in scale. Like, there is no reason for this to be as big as it is, yet it is. I think I need to reduce this by a bit. It is... How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top side. So 5 top, 2. So 5, then a 2. So we're gonna do this. Oh look, we're up to 5 viewers. How you guys doing? So we're gonna do a 5 at the top. One more. A 2. And then it goes down by how much? A 3. And then until it connects. Okay, so a 3 and then until it connects. Alright. So a 3 out. And then until it connects. Boom. And then, of course, repeat the same process that I did to make the outer edge, which is this. And I actually might make it go just a bit further on the back end here. I think we'll go just a tad further on the back end, just to try. Okay, and then I think what we'll do is we'll take this and we'll bridge it like that. Because I'll be honest, this is stupid. It is ridiculous in scale. And then I went, I think, like this. I don't need to repeat the exact same style I did on the other side, but I might as well repeat it. Okay. I don't know what to do about this, because this is so large, and it was never meant to be as large as it became. Okay, and then we just need to do that to the top here. Good. I honestly think this is probably the largest thing I've made ever, and is probably one of the largest things I'd ever make, because this is not... This is like well over 400 meters long. Like, this is no reason to be as big as it is. This is definitely at least 400 meters long. At least. And I had never intended for it to get this big. I intended it to be more like the 300 meter length that I had previously built to. But I guess building bigger became the aim of the game at some point, and now we have this. One, two, click. One, click. One, two, 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 click. Oh, okay. And the last one we'll build, we just do this. One, two, click. One, click. One, two, click. One, two, click. One, two, click. One. Okay, I'll be honest, I don't really, like, this was never intended to get this large, so I don't really know how I want the rest of this to shape up. Do I feel like that's large enough? Yes, I do feel like that's large enough. And then I feel like what I should do is... honestly, if I just kind of build like a small... like if I just kind of build out the remaining curve here, more or less mimicking the curve here, honestly, I feel like that'll work pretty well. Well, actually, no, because I want this to end at about here. So I think what I'll do, actually, at this point, and I feel like I'll just finally do some other work. We'll just do that. And we'll just go here, just this. Hey, Sparky. 9, 11. I'm good. Glad to see you building a massive ship. For large ships, would love to see a functioning BC-30. Yeah. Honestly, someone's probably already made one of those in Space Engineers. To kind of explain what was going on, I previously built this thing that you see in the background. Let me zero this so I can kind of show it off. I previously built this, but I couldn't really figure out how to make this look better because before today it didn't have this these struts that kind of brought the width out wider, and connected to that it just went in from there. So I couldn't see how to make that look better and how to make it work well. So I decided I wanted to build something new. And where the fuck is it? Oh, there. No, that's the same ship. Yeah. So I started building with this. I need to fix the sun so I can actually see what I'm doing, and so that its rough shape can be seen better. But yeah, I started with this. After this whole thing was being built, I decided I couldn't figure out a good way to finish up the shaping, so I decided I'd make something new. And now we have, where is it? This thing. I don't know if these are going to be part of the same faction. I think they might be. It's just this thing became so much bigger than initially intended. And honestly, yeah, if I just kind of build a very similar tail section, this thing would honestly actually fit fairly well with the previous ship. Of course, this is probably going to be almost a fleet carrier style. Like a massive, massive ship. Like something that's going to be... Well, honestly, given where I want to put the big guns, it actually makes sense for this to end up maybe a little different from now. But yeah, I want to put some big guns right here and on this center pylon. And then maybe put one of the big guns here, and then maybe another big gun probably along the center pylon, because I think I'll probably build that a little higher. And I might actually include, now that I think about it, if I include the angle and sort of design from that front a little after the front of this, that would very easily allow me to build this back tail section like I built the previous tail section. Kind of bridging the design of one to the other, especially if I left the bottom flat. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Which does mean it is now about time that I come over to this massive thing, grab out a block, and now we end up with this. Yeah, because this was... The intention behind the original thing was for this to be a patrol cruiser. Patrol ships in the universe that I'm building are designed in sort of a way where they more or less, like the patrol ships in my universe, kind of work in a way of just being something built with the sole intention of this ship is designed for going out to somewhere, sending out small scout fighters in a wider zone, and being able to more or less loosely hold a large section of territory. The fact that these two things managed to get so freaking scaled before they're like way scaled is ridiculous. But if I go 1, 2, 3, then 2, then 3, and then kind of go with that angle, I feel like that might actually work well for this thing. I might increase the sizes a little because, of course, everything about this thing is much larger than the previous design. But I do like the idea of doing sort of a... Ooh, actually I like the idea that I can do this. If I go back a little bit further, maybe do sort of a slight step here, because this is probably going to be where I'll put something like a big gun, so I think I'll go back a little bit further, add sort of a step to it to allow for the next gun to have at least semi forward firing arcs. We'll go back a little bit. And then I think what I'll do is we can do the back angle bit. So we'll do 3, 2, and then 3. Does that feel right for that far forward of the ship? No, I feel like I need to do that way further back in the ship. Probably closer to about here. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm just going to remove this and then pull the other bit a little bit further back. Because the other bit is I need to make sure that when I do that sort of angle, I also bring it much wider toward the back. Because, of course, this thing is going to get really stupid in scale really quickly. the more I add. So I think we'll go back a bit further. I think we'll go wider. Good. We'll just kind of build it a little wider. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I like that. Build it to... I think this width is good. We'll build it back a little bit more. I think one more set of 4. Because sets of 3s make sense. Build it back a little bit further back, straight. And then we'll build up the 2, or the 3, 2, and then the 3. Actually, yeah. From that point, that doesn't feel too large necessarily. And adding something like a large main gun kind of in this part where it gets wider makes sense. So I feel like what I can do now is I can kind of continue this. Maybe do this. I think maybe start the widening process a little early. And then I think when the main size really expands, good. The scale of this ship is ridiculous. Yeah, and then we'll kind of do this. Alright. And then, yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll start going like that. And then I think we'll go... those are the very edges of the thing, right? And then... do I have any other shaping kind of in the center or to really differentiate this shaping? Not really. Everything is kind of a little bit further inward. Okay. Where the fuck's the rest of the ship? There it is. So... honestly, I think this has now become almost a main vehicle. Yeah. So I kind of like the idea of just now returning this width. Just really freaking wide. Good. Just really fucking wide. Okay. And then I think we'll kind of raise it up at this point. Return a little bit further. Actually, what is a 304? I just realized I don't know what the 304 is. Let's see, it's Stargate. I don't know the ships. Okay, I'm gonna look that up actually, because I don't actually remember what ships. 304. Let's see. Oh, it's that ship. Honestly, this... I could probably not necessarily easily make one of those, but yeah, I can imagine that could be really cool and a kind of interesting design. I do want to just continue this real quick. Yeah. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of more or less continue this sort of shaping. And then what we'll do is I think I'm going to make this slightly wider at about this point. This will also help a bit with adding in the bridge, which I want not necessarily sunken into the hull of the ship, but kinda sunken into the hull of the ship, so that it's not necessarily standing up biggest thing on the thing, biggest thing on the ship, but it'd have like its point defense. Okay. And then I think what we'll do is we'll go up again. This is just a ridiculous scale of a ship. I don't know what to do about this. Because I never intended for this to get this big. And we'll do one last up, and then we'll stop with the kind of slope. And then I think, yeah, I just have to figure out how I want the rest of this ship designed. But as it stands now, this is ridiculous in terms of its just sheer scale of it. Okay, we'll go back a bit. We'll drop back. And leaving that bit a little fore of the aft hangar section. Let's just go back a bit. And we'll go kind of in a little. Okay, we'll just more steeply reduce the back end a little. Because I'll be honest, this thing's ridiculous scale. I do love this stupid thing's scale, but it is stupid in its design. Alright. And I think what we'll do is we'll start semi-steepening the downslope. Well, this just kind of tapers off a bit. I mean, even the slight taper just elongates the ship by a significant scale, so I will then start kind of drastically steepening the drop. I think what I might do, actually, is I might take from there, really bring it in as it goes down towards the back, so it kind of pulls up towards this, which would require me to take this, go down a little bit further. I think at this point we can start the and actually, now that I think about it, what I can do is I can kind of make it step a little bit. At least just a tiny bit in the bottom. Although I will also be doing a slight raise to the bottom section. So, honestly, I have no idea how this is going to end up looking, but we'll figure it out. Of course, I'm missing a piece. There we go. Okay. Good. And then we just kind of pull this, just... This weird sort of bridge piece. Okay. And we just really elongate this. Okay. Alright, let me just remove this. Okay. And I think what I'm gonna also do is... I kind of want to repeat that pattern. So this is currently the inside part of this. So then what I want to do is I want to kind of take this. Alright. Kind of steepen that up a little. Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll do the bottom be a little bit more slanted, but not as steeply slanted. I think about here's probably tall enough. Just needs to be tall enough to kind of create a, yeah, just needs to be tall enough to create a balancing sort of bit where there's height at the bottom that I can add guns and such to, without the bottom necessarily looking their worst. Okay, and we're gonna go, I think one last one, and then we just go out. Just ridiculous. Okay. It's a from Stargate SG-1. How far back? Oh. Shoot. Okay. That's not. Okay. Okay. Okay, cool. Hopefully you see those written in chat for, yeah, I'm gonna kind of continue this. Okay. Yep. It also buffers a bit. Oh yeah. Cool. Okay. Okay, cool. Let me finish what I was doing. I think I'm gonna go kind of build this. Okay. We're still quite a bit further from the back end, so... Okay. Alright. Let's see here. We're gonna go... Honestly, I think I'm gonna continue with this width. We'll just kind of fully bring this down a little. I do need to start bringing it in a little on this back end. But I don't think I need to do it by much. Okay. I think that's about the width that I need to be at, so we'll continue this. Yeah, I built a little bit of stuff in survival myself, but it is such a pain in the ass to build anything of any scale in survival. It's fun to try to work in survival, but it just can be such a pain in my rear end to try to build anything of a substantive scale. But let's see. Alright, then I think what I'll do is I think I'm gonna just kind of sort of build a bit of a steeper upper bit where it just kind of angles quite heavily. That way I can do some lower engines, lower 4 engines, and then oh, these shouldn't have been made a little lighter. That's annoying. I reduced its width at a point, and I shouldn't have reduced its width. Oh well. Man, the music is really freaking hyping up the design of this ship, which it really shouldn't, because it's just, it is a ridiculous scale. Yeah. Oh wow, it's only 1040? It's not bad. way more done today than I expected to get done in building, I'll be honest. At least for capital design. Usually capital ship designs take me a bit longer. Though this is also the largest capital design I have made. I think the previous largest was probably about 200 blocks long. 200 to 300 blocks long, and my current design is at probably somewhere close to, I want to say, well, actually, now that I think about it, I finally have, hopefully, the final length done. So I can kind of decide, or kind of figure out exactly how wide and how, what the dimensions of this thing is, because I finally have it built, at least a good chunk of it. So let's see, how long and wide has this behemoth been? I think the other bit is, I think I'm gonna make the tail wider than the previous design's tail. But the overall shaping definitely makes this identifiable as part of the same group's designs, which I like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. Oh wait, why do I do it this way? Why am I doing it the wrong way? I can just grab a block, fly more or less straight backward, and that'll tell me the length. I will have to get rid of this centralized column piece, but it'll be easier to count once that, if I do it that way than if I do it the other way. So, alright, how long has this thing become from my previous design? Because I believe my previous design was, and my previous longest was like in about 100 blocks long or so. When I made my first patrol cruiser. The second patrol cruiser that I'm making, the newer revamped design, I believe is something of about almost 400 meters long. And this design is looking to shape up to be about probably close to double that in length, which is honestly pretty impressive, especially because of how just scale this is. Let's see. Alright, just how big is this thing anyway? So we're looking at, let's see here. So that's 255. 255 plus 11, so about 255 plus 11. So 255 plus 11. So that's 266 times 2.5. So this thing is 665 meters long. If I added 2 more blocks, that'd be 670, which, yep. So it's about 670 meters long by, how wide is this thing? If I just delete that, grab this. Alright, let me get in position. Okay. By about 88 blocks wide. Alright, so we got 88 blocks wide, which is how many meters? Let's see, clear, 88 times 5, no, 2.5. So it's about 200 meters wide by 600 meters long, or 660 by 220, more or less. So 660 by 220 by the maximum height, I believe, is about here. What's really going to be fun is making the hangar space on this thing. Another command quarter pieces. And piping the whole thing. That's going to be a fun process. Alright, let's see here. As it's looking, it's about 55 deep. So it's by about 55. 137.5. Okay. So we have 55 blocks by 88 blocks by about 260 blocks, right? I think it was about 260. Because it was 255 plus 11, 266. Alright. So I am going to quickly craft the blueprint for this. Control B. I'm just gonna call it frickin' large capital and rename. Large capital. Good, so just large capital. It's fine. How do I... Oh, do I need to publish it to get a description box area for now? Okay. Oh, wait. Why am I not over the large capital? Let me find it again. Large capital. Okay, I still can't seem to edit the description box, so I'll just rename it with the dimensions. So L266 W A8, H55. Okay, there we go. So now I don't have to take those measurements again, because I know that those are the measurements at the moment. Okay. And then I think what I'm gonna do is just simply go backward quite a bit. And kind of round off the edge. Okay. More or less just slowly making this thing a little less wide. Okay. And then we just kind of finish this off. There we are. So we're just going to kind of more or less run the back as kind of with the sides. There we are. So I'm liking that sort of shaping so far. Okay. Honestly, this thing's going to be able to carry so many freaking fighters, it's ridiculous. Because, like, if I make both these side areas just the hangar space alone without doing much more with it, I've got at least my double height from at least this point. Most of my fighters are about 11 to 13 blocks if I give their width. So if I just kind of don't take any extra space, just go from here. So we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 9, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. I'm gonna say, also, yeah, I know. I know. It is doing the thing with stream delay for at least which all right. And yeah, so if I take, now what I want to do is I now kind of want to more or less take the new hull and put the other hull next to it, just to see the difference in freaking size between the old ship, which would be more of a, not necessarily fast attack, but definitely a lot more of a faster vehicle, which is ridiculous because this thing's 600 freaking meters long. This thing's over 600 meters long. So if I just quickly come over here and like 0, we'll say Control C, which is just, all right, escape. Where is the ship? There it is. Okay. So I just come over here and Control V. Let's rotate slightly. Pull you a little bit further forward and a little lower. So we end up with a ship, more or less. Good, it's not moving. So like, look at the difference in freaking scale of these things. This is ridiculous. Because we have this scale and that scale. And then we have, what was it that I had built? The, not the Corvette. Where is it? My previous design that I made for this. Where is it? Let's find it again. Where are you? Like, just seeing the scale. There it is. The Temperance class heavy patrol frigate. The Temperance. The Temperance. This will take forever to spawn in because it's huge. Okay. Okay. I apparently didn't try to spawn that in, my bad. But I then want to spawn this next to the other designs so the scales can be really figured out here. I also love how once this gets to the larger size, the kind of armor plate design, I think, becomes more readily visible, which I think makes for a much cleaner design. It's also way cleaner than this stupid thing. But like, this was my old large design. And then we just spawn it in comparison to the other ones, and it's tiny. Like, honestly, that would be like frigate scale at this point, which is ridiculous considering the freaking fighters. Like, these things are gonna be able to carry like 400 fighters each, or at least like not 400, but like ridiculous numbers of fighters. I think I already determined that the big one could carry at like a minimum like the mid-scale of these ships. But yeah, I like this design because you get like you really can tell scale now on these things. Look at this. Look at the scale. This is ridiculous. Alright, I'm gonna go get rid of that because it's just ridiculous in scale, but yeah. you're gonna end up with like 2 of these on any patrol with the big thing, and it's ridiculous. Because yeah, if I remember correctly, we have, how many of this? 1, 2, 3, 6, 12 fighters. And then, if I went back, I think that's another layer, like another row of fighters at least. So if I did my calculations right, because these are the scale of the big ship. Let me go back to it real quick. Okay, this will give me the scale for the ship itself. I'm gonna use that to kind of figure out just how many of these things I can get in the thing. But like, yeah, this is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I think I have it as 11 by, we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we'll say 11 by 12. 11 by 12, we'll say. So if I go back to the smaller one, I know I can at least deploy 12 of these things, and that's the instant deployment. That's not any sort of like reduced deployment amounts. So right, if I do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, okay, 10, 11, 12, okay. So this is, in theory, 1 plate, and then, if I do this, just, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay. So in theory, I could probably get at least an extra 6 more of these, so we would have, oh, what would there be, 24 of these ships able to release pretty much immediately, as long as I don't even add any forward or aft hangar space. If I do forward and aft, allowing for, you know, probably, I don't know, double the amount, so we end up with, what, 48? Potentially, I can do 48 of the fighters. 48 large fighters out of this thing, and probably minimum double that for the larger one. It's ridiculous. But looking at it like this definitely tells you these are from the same faction, which I do like. Because I can look at both of these and say these are the same group who made them. So we'll go over here. We'll delete the other one for now. I think I'm going to... Alright. I think what we're going to do is... Okay, so what else do I need for the design? I guess what I should probably do is I should probably work on this layer here, which is probably going to end up being quite the fun bit to work on. Alright, so we're just going to continue the work. I don't know if I'd ever be able to move this thing, just because it's so large. Okay, and then we're gonna move it a little wider. This main fin bit, it gets very, very tall very quickly. Okay, and then we're gonna make it a little wider. And just continue to make it a little bit wider, and a little bit wider, and a little bit wider until we get to the area where the width of the vehicle just really freaking widens quite significantly. And then we're gonna move a bit wider. Okay. Then we just drastically keep widening, and then we'll stick with the width that we are at now for a little bit longer, because I think this actually feels, yeah, that feels reasonable for an extra height. It feels like if I wanted to, I can bridge that while making that look good by making it a little stepped. Maybe, I do think I want to maybe bring it a little bit wider, just so that I don't need to make that fully vertical. I think we'll bridge it. Do a, what is that, a 4? 4 twice. There we go. I think actually a 4 3 times. There we go. 4 3s, good. And then we just really elongate the lengths quite significantly. Good. This is just ridiculous. And of course, I can easily add indentations and other things to this, but it's not necessary at the moment, so we'll not do that. This is entirely because I want it. Okay. We're gonna go in again now at this height. Okay. This framing up of the ship is quite good because this will allow me to very clearly define certain parts of the ship and really scale up other parts of the ship, which is just really good. Okay. Dang it. I'll probably have to... Well, we'll delete what I need to delete. Okay. Good enough. And then I think what we'll do is we'll just start kind of bringing down at a... No. Z. We'll just start going downward a bit. Try to go, I think, 5s. Then what we'll do is we'll start rounding the back here. Good. Yeah, and then I could pretty much at this point continue the bridging a bit further back. Actually, what I want to do is I feel like I want to bring this a little further up. So I actually feel like I want to keep this to about this height. So it kind of dips a little bit, but doesn't dip too much. And never really gets to the Z. Never really gets to the part that's going to be a bit pain in the ass for me to deal with. Okay. I do like the combination of the angles and the curves on these designs. Perfect. That merges now to the bottom piece, in which if I just simply go down from here, I want to kind of more or less bring this curve good. We'll just kind of stop the curve about here. I think this will be really good at about this height. Doing a similar thing to the rest of the ship. Also, Naresh, if you're still here, do you have anything you want me to react to? I know that you sent me a couple of stuff when we were playing games Wednesday. Was there more than that, or was it pretty much just that? Because I might restart the stream, do the reactions, and then do that, because honestly the stream's not seemingly the healthiest on Twitch, so hopefully that'll work. Okay. And then I think I'll just kind of... Okay, we're gonna try to... Okay. Here we are. And we'll just kind of more or less just continue at the level that we are at, which actually kind of matches the main level, which I don't really like. So I'm gonna kind of try to bring it a little bit closer in. No, wrong button. Sheer scale of this thing is gonna make it such a ridiculous prop. That's the main use of this, is as a prop. Like that's the main thing for this, is just as a freaking prop piece. Okay. We'll just move it in a little bit more. Good. Let's see. All right. And what we'll do is we'll start doing the downward again. Oh, I see. That's a problem. Okay, I need to severely fix some of my design here. Okay, this is probably okay for the height. It does kind of connect back here, but I think that's fine. What I need to do is I need to drastically continue the sharper angle down by at least a little bit longer. Okay. And actually, what I kind of want to do is I actually kind of want to make this go a little bit further. So I think I might try to... Yeah, if I merge this a bit more centered... and get a little closer by, well, making it go a little closer. I can make this very quickly, okay. What I kind of want is I kind of want all this to just fucking... Okay. So, I want this to be below this layer. So I want to, I think, further back... much further back, I want to merge these together. So I think once we get to about this layer, I want to start trying to bring these in a bit. Okay. Okay, I desperately just need to fucking... like... this point needs to start going in from here. I need to start going in very early. Okay. Good. Okay. I need to start really reducing the height. I think what I'll do is towards this back end, we'll use this to reduce this. Okay. And then I think what we'll do is we'll do 1, 2, and then we'll start dipping rather steeply. Okay. Okay. I would like to get closer to about 1